Hey, welcome. So, what if I told you that you could go from just having a podcast idea to being completely ready to launch in just 30 days? Well, in this explainer, we're going to walk you through the exact blueprint to make that a reality. Yeah, that's a pretty big promise, right? It might sound like a huge mountain to climb, but honestly, if you follow the steps we're about to lay out, it's totally achievable. We're just going to build your foundation, one simple piece at a time. So why are we so obsessed with this foundation? Well, get this. A staggering 89% of podcasts that fail, they fail because they skipped this part. They just jumped right in. The next few minutes are all about making sure you land in that successful 11%. And here's our game plan. It's 5 simple steps. First, your mission. Then, your listener. We'll talk gear on a budget, sort out your recording space, and finally, tie it all together with your 30-day plan. Let's do it. Okay, let's jump right in with section 1, your core mission. This is, and I'm not exaggerating, the absolute bedrock of your entire show. Before you even think about hitting record, you have to know why you're doing this and what makes you different. So how do you find that unique angle? Well, my favorite way is something called the 3-circle method. You're basically looking for that magic spot, that sweet spot where 3 things overlap: what you're passionate about, what you actually know a lot about, and, this is the crucial one, what people are actively searching for. And this is a perfect example of why being specific is your superpower. I mean, a podcast on business tips, you're competing with, well, pretty much everyone. You're just noise. But a show about marketing for local restaurants? Bam! Suddenly you're the go-to expert for a very specific audience that's hungry for exactly what you've got. And that idea of a specific audience leads us perfectly into section 2. Decoding your ideal listener. Once you know your topic, you've got to get laser focused on who you're actually talking to. You're not talking into a void, you're talking to a person. Now, it's one thing to know the demographics, the who, their age, their job, stuff like that. But where the real magic happens is in the psychographics, the why. Why are they listening? What keeps them up at night? What are they trying to achieve? When you know their why, your content will hit them on a whole different level. A great little trick for finding that why is to check out what's already out there. But listen, we're not talking about copying your competitors. We're talking about analyzing them to find what they're missing. What questions aren't they answering? Who are they ignoring? That, right there, is your golden opportunity. All right, section 3. This is the fun part for a lot of people, the gear. And let me just bust a huge myth for you right now. You do not need to take out a loan to sound professional. It's just not true. You can get incredible sound quality for way less than you think. How much less? We're talking about $200. Seriously? For about $200, you can put together a setup that makes you sound crisp, clear, and just as good as shows that have been around for years. It makes the whole thing so much more accessible. And the great thing is, you've got options. Look at this. On one path, for about $100, you can grab a fantastic USB mic and some solid headphones. Boom, you're done. Or if you can stretch to that $200 mark, you can get a setup with an audio interface that gives you even better quality and more room to grow later. Either way, you can't go wrong. So that brings us to section 4, your recording space. Because you can have the most expensive microphone in the world, but if your room sounds echoey and hollow, well, you're going to sound echoey and hollow. And no, you don't need a professional studio. You just have to be a little clever about the room you already have. The science here is actually super simple. Your number one enemy is echo. And echo is just sound bouncing off hard surfaces like your walls, your desk, your window. The solution? Soft surfaces. Things like blankets, rugs, pillows, even a full bookshelf. They don't bounce the sound back. They absorb it. So what does this actually look like? You want to know the classic podcaster hack? Record in your walk-in closet. I'm not kidding. All those clothes are perfect sound absorbers. But you can also just hang some thick blankets on the walls behind you, or make sure your room has a big rug and some curtains. These free, easy fixes will make a night and day difference to your sound. Okay, we're at the final section. We have our mission, we know our audience, we've got our gear picked out, and we know how to set up our space. Now, let's bring it all home and put it into a simple, manageable 30-day plan. This is where the talk turns into action. And we're going to break it down so it's not overwhelming. Week 1, your only job is to figure out your niche and purpose. That's it. Week 2, you put on your detective hat and research your audience and competitors. Week 3 is easy, just order your gear. And then in week 4, the fun part, you set it all up and you make your first test recording. See? Each week, one clear goal. And look, as you start on all this, please remember this. Every single podcasting expert you admire started in the exact same place you are right now. They were nervous, they didn't know what they're doing. Don't get hung up on being technically perfect. People are showing up for you and what you know. Your authenticity is what matters. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Right now, at this very moment, the people you want to reach, your ideal listeners, your ideal clients, they're listening to someone else's podcast. The only question is, are you ready to finally give them a reason to listen to you?